Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and it's time for Pass Rush Friday. And I'm happy to report that after having a chance to look at the data, look at some of the replays, look at some of the tape, I think our pass rush was better than I initially thought on Sunday. I think it was actually really good. The numbers bear it out. There was some really impressive stuff happening on the inside and the outside, and it felt like there was some stuff left on the table as well. Like it could be better. So, coming out of reviewing that game for pass rush purposes, pretty happy with where I see this potentially going. So let's jump right in here because the defensive line gets us off to a great start in terms of counting pressures. Again, we're using PFR. PFF is going to have bigger numbers than this, I'm sure, but DreMont Jones, wow. You have to work hard to get 4 pressures from PFR in a game. He got 4, so that gets him up to double digits on the season. He had a dominant game. I know he didn't have sacks, but pressures help. Pressures matter. Pressures create turnovers. They create inaccurate throws. They create mistakes. A lot of good stuff happens when you get a QB pressure. So, DreMont Jones feasted. Best game of the year for him easily. Jarran Reed had a pressure. So he's up to 11 now on the year. Again, past my preseason projection. Nobody else got anything, but nobody else really played that much. The only guy who maybe could have was Mario Edwards. He continues to just kind of be a guy, but he's been, well worth the money. Again, I know these pressure numbers for Mario Edwards are underwhelming, but I don't think it's a reflection of him playing poorly. I think it's just a reflection of him not getting pressures right now. Cam Young and Miles Adams did play some, but not a lot. Mike Morris and Monet still not playing. Morris won't play again this year. Not expecting Monet to be back this year anymore, honestly. Pretty pessimistic about that. So that's 5 pressures from your defensive line. That's a step in the right direction over the last couple games. Happy about that. Linebackers. Bobby Wagner, nothing. Devin Bush only played the 1 snap. Nick Bellore played 2 snaps and did not blitz. But Jordan Brooks, I mean, wow. Not only does he have 3 pressures in this game, not only does two of them two of them go for QB hits, not only does one of them go for a strip sack, but this is not just a fluke. This is something that's been brewing over the course of the entire season. He's become a real danger to opposing offenses on the blitz here. And by the way, I notice every game where Jordan Brooks gets a QB pressure, the Seahawks win. Every game he doesn't, they lose. Something to think about. Don't think about it too hard. I mean, understand that I am kind of just, it's kind of an amusing anecdote. But seriously, this guy can blitz. Let him blitz. Let him eat. He's doing great stuff right now. All right, so now we get to the edge rushers, and I got to tell you, in the absence of Uchenna Nwosu, I got to give a big shout out to a couple of guys who obviously they're not going to be able to completely replace Nwosu. There's nothing you're going to be able to do to replace Nwosu. But Boye Mafe may have had the best game of his career, and Darrell Taylor, while he is a flawed player, he does his own thing. He finds his own way to contribute positively to a game. Like, people are hard on Darrell Taylor, and I understand why. He's flawed. There are some things with him that are just never going to be what we want them to be, and that's too bad. But Boye Mafe had a sack in this game. He recovered a fumble. He had 4 QB pressures in this game. I think he had 4 QB hits, according to ESPN. So he was constantly in that backfield getting to PJ Walker, harassing him, making him hurt, making his throws inaccurate. Awesome stuff from Boye Mafe. So that may have been the best game of Boye Mafe's career. I don't know if it actually was, but I feel like in terms of impact and efficiency and all around excellence, it probably was. And there's a lot on his plate right now. So full credit to him for finding a way through. And Darrell Taylor, again, he's part of the reason why we got run on for a good chunk of that game. But at the same time, he does chime in with 2 QB pressures of his own, including a sack that basically ended the game. I know it felt like garbage time, but realistically, that sack was pretty much the thing that closed the door. He had another QB pressure as well. So these guys, they're grinding. They're doing the best that they can. And again, Darrell Taylor will never be the perfect player, but he is a valuable player that can be good to have as long as you utilize him in the proper fashion. Nothing for Derek Hall. Frank Clark did play in this game, but he didn't get any pressures. I'll add him to the list when he does start to actually play. Excuse me. So, yeah, nothing else there. So that's 6 pressures from the edge rushers on top of the 3 from the inside linebackers and the 5 from the defensive line. Now, the rest of this video, there's not much to say. We got nothing from the cornerbacks. There wasn't a lot of cornerback blitzing in this game that I saw, and nothing from the safeties. Now, Jamal Adams did make the biggest play of the game on a blitz where he, hit the ball with his helmet, but that doesn't count as a QB pressure. So we didn't get anything from the secondary in this game, and that's what I'm saying. This Seahawks team has actually gotten pretty good pass rush from the secondary so far this year. We've got 10 pressures total from defensive backs so far in the 2023 season. So even without that, we got up to 14 pressures in a game where the Browns ran the ball a lot. So really, even though watching that game there were some frustrating points, we got a lot of pressure here. So I'm going to say that's good because it shows how once we start blitzing cornerbacks more and blitzing safeties more and it starts to become a little more effective, it will probably just keep getting better and better. Yeah, like this 14 could have easily been 16 or 17 if we had been a little more aggressive with these defensive backs. And I think we wanted to play it a little bit safe in this game because we were playing such a bad quarterback, which admittedly, I don't know if that's the right strategy, but I did get the sense we were trying to keep things a little vanilla. So 14 QB pressures just from the front 7. That seems like a pretty that seems like winning defensive football to me. Again, the thing that really got us in this game was the screens. And some of it was because we were blitzing at the wrong times and they would beat the blitz. Some of it was we would drop too far back in our zones and they would beat us with a screen that would then have a lot of freedom to run upfield for big yards. It was that kind of stuff. It wasn't, oh, there's no QB pressure and the receivers are getting wide open down the field. It was a little bit more they kind of tricked us. They got one in on over on us. So through 7 games, the Seahawks have 78 QB pressures. I know it's inflated by the Giants game, but it's also tampered down significantly by the Rams game. So if you take those 2 outliers and toss them out, we're averaging exactly 10 QB pressures a game. So we're exactly right where I wanted us to be and was hoping we would be. So the pass rush is coming along very nicely. And remember, this is the week we're going to add Leonard Williams. So Leonard Williams enters the fold, enters the conversation. He should change the equation here dramatically. And for the rest of this season, I don't know if 10 pressures is going to be satisfactory. We might need to get up to like 12 because the personnel has improved by that much. All right, I'll see you guys later. Let me know what you think. That is your Pass Rush Friday. I'm happy. You guys should be happy too. There's some areas where we can get better, but honestly, a lot of that should be taken care of by the addition of Leonard Williams. All right, go Hawks. More videos coming later today.